My sister said no one would ever date me, so she cried when I got engaged before her. My older sister spent my entire childhood reminding me I was the ugly one. It started small. She'd fix my hair before school, then mess it up right before we left. At family dinners, she'd interrupt whenever I spoke. By high school, she'd perfected the art of the backhanded compliment. That outfit is so brave. You're really owning the whole quirky look. Mom never intervened. She treated my sister like a delicate flower and me like a cactus that could survive neglect. When I turned 16, my sister sat me down for what she called a reality check. Listen, someone has to tell you this. You're not pretty like I am. You're going to have to work really hard if you want anyone to date you. Maybe focus on being funny or smart. I believed her for years. I believed her. I developed the personality of someone who thought they were lucky to be included. I laughed too loud at jokes that weren't funny. I stayed quiet when I had opinions. I made myself small. My sister collected boyfriends like trophies. She was engaged twice by 23, breaking it off both times when someone better came along. After the second broken engagement, Mom threw her a pity party and bought her a diamond bracelet. I'd just turned 24. I was working at a veterinary clinic and living with 2 roommates. My sister had moved back home, spending most days on the couch, scrolling through her ex's social media. That's when I met Oliver at the clinic. He brought in a 3-legged cat he'd rescued from a parking lot. The cat was terrified, hissing at everything. Oliver just sat on the floor talking to her softly until she calmed down. When he asked for my number, I assumed he needed pet care advice. Our first date lasted 6 hours. I waited for him to realize his mistake, to see what my sister had always seen. Instead, he kept calling. I didn't tell my family for 4 months. When I finally mentioned I was seeing someone, my sister barely looked up from her phone. That's nice. Don't get too attached. 6 months later, Oliver proposed at the animal shelter where we volunteered together. He'd arranged for all the dogs to wear little bow ties. I called my parents from the parking lot, still crying happy tears. Mom put me on speakerphone. My sister was there. I'm engaged, I said. Silence. Then my sister's voice, sharp and disbelieving. You're engaged? When I got home that night, my sister was sitting on my apartment steps. Her eyes were red and swollen. How did you do it? She asked, her voice breaking. Find someone who actually wants to marry you. I've tried so hard. I'm the pretty one. I'm supposed to be married first. I stared at her. The woman who'd spent 24 years convincing me I was worthless was crying because I'd found happiness. You're not the pretty one, I said quietly. You're just the mean one who convinced everyone else you were. She started sobbing harder. That's not fair. I was trying to help you. No, I said. You were trying to make yourself feel better by making me feel worse. I went inside and locked the door. My sister showed up at the engagement party wearing white. She cried through the toasts. She cornered Oliver in the kitchen and told him I'd always been jealous of her. Oliver found me afterward. Your sister just warned me that you're difficult. He smiled. I told her I was counting on it, but things got worse before they got better. 2 days after the engagement party, my sister posted a long thread on social media about toxic siblings who steal your happiness. She never mentioned my name, but everyone knew. Mutual friends started avoiding me. Cousins who'd known the truth for years suddenly went silent. The post had hundreds of comments, people praising her vulnerability, people sharing their own sibling trauma stories, people calling unnamed siblings selfish monsters. I watched my reputation disintegrate in real time, one sympathetic emoji at a time. My aunt called me, the one who'd always seemed to see through my sister's act. I know what she's doing, she said quietly. But if I say anything publicly, I'm the villain too. I'm sorry. Everyone was sorry, but no one was brave enough to tell the truth. Mom called me crying. Why are you doing this to your sister? She's been through so much. Can't you just postpone the wedding until she's in a better place? What about my place? I asked. What about what I've been through? You're stronger, Mom said, as if that justified everything. You can handle it. She's fragile. I hung up. The wedding planning became a minefield. My sister convinced Mom that traditional venues were too triggering for her after her broken engagement. Mom pressured me to have a backyard wedding instead. When I refused, she threatened not to come. Dad called separately. Your mother's right. Your sister is fragile right now. Maybe just push the date back a year. Give her time to heal. She's had 24 years, I said. How much more time does she need? Don't be dramatic, Dad replied. We're just asking for some consideration. I'm not putting my life on hold, I said. I've already waited 24 years. The dress shopping was supposed to be special. I'd invited Mom, my best friend, and Oliver's sister. My sister showed up uninvited. She brought champagne and made a toast about how weddings are really about celebrating love, not showing off. Every dress I tried on, she had commentary. That's very you. Simple. Practical. Nothing too flashy. When I found the one that made me cry, she leaned in and whispered, Are you sure? It's a lot of dress for someone your size. Oliver's sister heard her. She stood up, looked my sister dead in the eye, and said, I think you need to leave. My sister laughed. This is a family moment. Oliver's sister didn't blink. Exactly. And family doesn't tear each other down. Mom started crying. My sister stormed out. I bought the dress. The saleswoman pulled me aside as I was paying. I've worked here for 15 years. I've seen every kind of family dynamic. What your sister just did? That's abuse. Don't let anyone tell you different. I'd never heard it called that before. Abuse. I'd always thought abuse had to be physical. Had to leave marks you could photograph. The saleswoman squeezed my hand. The invisible scars are the ones that take longest to heal, she said. 3 weeks before the wedding, my sister got engaged to a man she'd been dating for 6 weeks. She called me at midnight, hysterical with excitement. I met someone. He's amazing. We're getting married. Isn't it wonderful? We can plan together. Maybe we could do a double wedding. Think of the savings. I congratulated her and went back to sleep. The next morning, Mom called. Your sister's so happy. She was hoping you two could bond over wedding planning. Maybe she could be your maid of honor? The woman who told me I'd die alone wants to stand next to me at my wedding, I said flatly. Mom's voice got cold. You're being selfish. She's family. So am I replied. And I've been invisible to this family my entire life. I hung up again. Oliver found me crying in the kitchen. He didn't ask questions, just held me while I sobbed. When I finally caught my breath, I told him everything. Every comment, every comparison, every year of being second best. We're canceling the wedding, he said quietly. I pulled back. What? Not canceling forever, he clarified. Just the big one. Let's elope. Get married at the courthouse this weekend. Then we'll throw a party later, on our terms, with only people who actually love you. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to run away from all of it. But something in me refused. No, I said. I'm not running anymore. I've spent my whole life making myself smaller to make my sister feel bigger. Not this time. My sister started copying everything. She booked the same venue for 2 months after my wedding. She hired the same photographer. She even bought a similar dress. When I confronted her, she acted innocent. I just thought, since you did such good research, why reinvent the wheel? Plus, people will compare our weddings. I want to make sure mine is just as nice. The photographer called me uncomfortable. Your sister's asking me to recreate your exact shot list. I don't feel right about it. If you want, I can decline her booking. I thought about it. It would feel good to deny her something. But I didn't want to be that person. Keep the booking, I said. Just make sure mine is better. The photographer laughed. Already planning on it. Oliver suggested we elope. I considered it. But something in me refused to run anymore. I'd spent my whole life making myself smaller to make my sister feel bigger. Not this time. 2 weeks before the wedding, my sister started a podcast. It was called Pretty Broken, and it was supposedly about her journey through heartbreak and betrayal. The first episode was about her upcoming wedding and how she'd found love after her siblings had abandoned her in her darkest moment. I listened to the entire thing, my hands shaking. She'd rewritten history. In her version, I was the jealous sister who'd always competed with her. I was the one who'd made family gatherings uncomfortable with my constant need for attention. I was the reason she'd struggled in her relationships because I'd never supported her. The comment section was full of support. Poor thing. Family can be so toxic. Good for you for setting boundaries. Oliver found me staring at my laptop, tears streaming down my face. Don't read the comments, he said gently, closing the laptop. People who don't know the truth don't get a vote. But they do, I said. They're voting right now. They're deciding I'm the villain, and I can't even defend myself without looking exactly like she's describing. So don't defend yourself, he said. People who matter know the truth. Everyone else is just noise. The week before the wedding, my sister's engagement imploded. Turns out her fiancé had been married the entire time. He'd used a fake name. When confronted, he admitted he'd been scamming her for money. She'd given him almost $30,000. Dad called first. Your sister's devastated. This con artist took everything from her. She needs family right now. I felt a flicker of sympathy. Then I remembered the podcast episode, the social media posts, the 24 years of systematic destruction. That's terrible, I said. I hope she has support. You're her support, Dad said. You're her sister. And she's mine, I replied. But that didn't stop her from calling me ugly for 2 decades. It didn't stop her from telling the world I'm toxic. So no, I'm not her support system anymore. Mom called next, sobbing. Your sister needs you. She's devastated. She made a mistake with a con artist. You have to postpone the wedding. She can't handle seeing you happy right now. I felt something crack inside me. No. What? Mom asked. No, I repeated. I'm not postponing my wedding because my sister's life imploded again. I'm not responsible for managing her emotions. I'm not dimming my light so she feels better about her darkness. How can you be so cruel? Mom whispered. How could you? I asked. How could you watch her destroy my self-worth for 24 years and do nothing? How could you prioritize her feelings over mine every single time? How could you ask me to sacrifice my happiness, again, for someone who's never sacrificed anything for me? Silence. I'm getting married on Saturday, I said. You're invited. But if you come to celebrate me, not to manage my sister's feeling. Those are my terms. I hung up for the last time. My best friend came over that night with wine and takeout. She'd been there for everything, every tear, every doubt, every moment I'd questioned my worth. I'm so proud of you, she said. You're finally choosing yourself. It doesn't feel good, I admitted. It feels like I'm the villain. Villains don't cry themselves to sleep because they set boundaries, she said. Villains don't spend years trying to be good enough. You're not the villain. You're just done being the victim. The wedding was small and perfect. My parents came but left early, right after dinner. Dad said Mom wasn't feeling well. I watched them leave, Mom not even looking back. My sister didn't show up at all. Oliver's family filled the empty spaces with warmth and laughter. His mother pulled me aside during the reception, tears in her eyes. I hope you know you're not just marrying into our family, she said. You are our family, and we're so lucky to have you. I cried then, right there on the dance floor. Because I'd spent 24 years trying to be good enough for a family that would never see me. And here was a family that chose me without conditions. My best friend gave a speech about how I'd transformed from someone who apologized for existing into someone who celebrated living. She talked about the first time we met, how I'd apologized for taking up too much space at our shared dorm room desk, how I'd apologized for laughing too loud, for having opinions, for existing in a way that might inconvenience anyone. But the woman standing here today, she said, her voice breaking, she doesn't apologize anymore. She takes up space. She laughs. She loves. She lives. And watching her become herself has been the greatest privilege of my life. During our first dance, I saw my mom's text. Your sister is in the hospital. Suicide attempt. I hope you're happy. I showed Oliver. He held me while I cried. Not from guilt, but from grief. Grief for the sister I'd never really had. Grief for the family that chose sides instead of healing. Should we go? I asked. Do you want to? He replied. I don't know. I admitted. Part of me feels like I should, but part of me knows that if I go, I'm right back where I started. Putting her crisis before my joy. Making myself small again. Then we stay, he said. We finish our wedding. We celebrate. And tomorrow, when you're ready, you can decide what comes next. We didn't go to the hospital that night. We finished our wedding. We laughed with friends. We celebrated the life we were building together. But I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my sister. I'd spent 24 years angry at her, and now all I felt was tired. Tired of the anger. Tired of the hurt. Tired of carrying the weight of our broken relationship. The next morning, I called the hospital. My sister was stable and under psychiatric hold. I spoke to her doctor, explained the family history, and provided context they needed. Then I blocked my parents' numbers. Oliver brought me coffee. I love you, he said. No matter what you decide. I love you too, I replied. And I'm choosing us. I'm choosing me. 2 weeks later, my sister sent a long text from a new number. She'd been in therapy. The suicide attempt had been a cry for help. She was sorry. She understood now how she'd hurt me. She wanted to be part of my life again, to start over, to be the sister I deserved. I read it twice, then put my phone down. Oliver brought me tea. You okay? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I am, I said. For the first time in my life, I actually am. The truth was, my sister's apology wasn't about me. It was about her pain, her isolation, her realization that burning bridges left her alone. She wasn't sorry she'd hurt me. She was sorry she was suffering the consequences. Real change doesn't announce itself in a desperate text after a failed manipulation tactic. Real change happens quietly, consistently, over years. It doesn't demand immediate forgiveness or access. It respects boundaries. I never responded to her text, but 3 days later, another text came, then another, each one more desperate than the last. Please just talk to me. I know I don't deserve it, but I'm begging you. Mom and Dad won't talk to me either. You're all I have. That last one made me pause. Our parents had abandoned her too. The golden child had finally tarnished too much, and they'd thrown her away like they'd done to me years ago. It should have felt like justice. Instead, it just felt sad. Oliver found me staring at my phone. What are you thinking? I'm thinking our parents are exactly who they've always been, I said. They don't love either of us. They just love the versions of us that make them look good. He nodded. So what do you want to do? Nothing, I said. I want to do nothing. I want to live my life without constantly managing everyone else's emotions. Is that selfish? No, he said. That's survival. 6 months later, I got a letter. Handwritten. My sister's familiar slanted script. It wasn't an apology this time. It was an explanation. She wrote about growing up as the pretty one, how that became her entire identity, how Mom had placed all her worth on appearance and charm, how Dad had treated her like a trophy, how when I started developing my own interests and personality, she'd panicked. If you became interesting and pretty, what would I be? She wrote. I made you believe you were worthless because I believed I was nothing without being better than you. I destroyed you to save myself, and I destroyed us both. She wrote about therapy, about unpacking decades of conditional love and comparison. She wrote about getting a job at a bookstore, about making friends who didn't know the old her. She wrote about learning to exist without external validation. The therapist asked me what I was afraid of, she wrote. I told her I was afraid of being ordinary. She asked what was wrong with ordinary. I couldn't answer. Because Mom and Dad raised me to believe ordinary was failure, and I spent my whole life terrified of failing. She wrote about the suicide attempt, how it hadn't actually been about me or the wedding. It had been about waking up one day and realizing she was 26, had no real friends, no real skills, no real identity beyond being pretty and mean. The con artist took my money, she wrote. But you know what hurt more? Realizing he was the only person who'd paid attention to me in months. I was so desperate for someone to see me that I ignored every red flag. I gave him everything because at least he pretended to want me. I'm not asking for forgiveness, she wrote at the end. I'm not asking for a relationship. I'm just asking you to know that I see it now. What I did. What it cost you. What it cost us. I'm sorry I stole years from you. I hope Oliver knows how lucky he is. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. A year after our wedding, I got pregnant. Oliver and I stood in the nursery, painting clouds on the ceiling. My phone buzzed. Another letter from my sister. I heard through the family that you're expecting. Congratulations. I know I have no right to be part of this, but I wanted you to know I'm an aunt. and I'm going to spend the rest of my life becoming someone worthy of that title, even if I never get to use it. Oliver looked at me. What are you thinking? I'm thinking, I said slowly, that some people deserve second chances, and some people deserve the space to grow without access to the people they've hurt. Which one is she? He asked. I don't know yet, I admitted. Maybe in a few years I'll find out. The pregnancy was difficult. I had hyperemesis gravidarum, which meant I spent the first trimester vomiting constantly. Oliver took time off work to care for me. His mother came to stay for 2 weeks. His sister brought meals and sat with me during the worst days. My family never called, but my sister sent flowers. No note, just flowers. Every week for 3 months. Oliver's sister asked about them one day. Who keeps sending you flowers? My sister, I said. She looked surprised. I thought you two weren't talking. We're not, I said. But apparently she's trying. Is it working? She asked. I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants to believe she's changed. Part of me thinks this is just another manipulation. Oliver's sister sat down next to me. Can I tell you something? My brother used to be engaged before you. I knew that, I said. He told me. What he probably didn't tell you is that his ex was a lot like your sister. Beautiful, charming, cruel. She spent 2 years tearing him down, making him think he was lucky she stayed. When she finally left him for someone richer, he was devastated. But you know what he told me when he met you? What? I asked. He said, I finally understand the difference between someone who loves me and someone who loves what I can do for them. Oliver's sister took my hand. Your sister might be changing. She might genuinely be sorry. But that doesn't mean you owe her access to your life. You get to decide what forgiveness looks like. And if forgiveness looks like flowers acknowledged but unreturned, that's valid too. Our daughter was born on a Tuesday. She had Oliver's eyes and my stubborn chin. In the hospital, surrounded by Oliver's family, I felt complete. Not because my family wasn't there, but because I'd built a new one that chose me. My sister sent a package, a handmade quilt with my daughter's name embroidered in the corner. The note said, for the niece I hope to meet someday. No pressure, just love. I cried holding that quilt, not because I forgave her, but because I recognized the grief in that gesture. The grief of consequences, the grief of knowing you broke something you can't fix. The quilt was beautiful, intricate. Each square was different, carefully stitched with obvious care. It must have taken months to make. Oliver examined it closely. This is really well done, he said. I didn't know your sister could sew. She can't, I said. Or she couldn't. Mom always said sewing was for people who couldn't afford to buy nice things. He looked at me. So she learned. For your daughter. I nodded, unable to speak. That night, as I rocked my daughter to sleep, wrapped in my sister's quilt, I let myself imagine a different life. One where we'd grown up supporting each other instead of competing. One where she celebrated my wins instead of resenting them. One where I never learned to make myself small. But that wasn't our life. And wishing it had been different wouldn't change anything. When my daughter turned 6 months old, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Mom. Your sister got married. Small ceremony. She didn't tell anyone until after. I thought you should know. I stared at that message for a long time. I wondered if my sister was happy. I wondered if she'd found someone who loved her despite her past. I wondered if she'd told her husband about me, or if I'd been erased from her history. I wondered, but I didn't ask. Instead, I did something unexpected. I sent flowers to the address Mom had included. No note, just flowers. Oliver saw the receipt. You sent your sister flowers? Yeah, I said. I did. Why? He asked, not judging, just curious. Because she sent them to me when I was sick, I said. And because I'm not her. I won't be the person who withholds kindness just because it was withheld from me. He kissed my forehead. That's why I married you. 2 days later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? I said. It's me, my sister said. Her voice was different, softer, uncertain. I didn't hang up. I also didn't speak. Thank you for the flowers, she said. I didn't expect that. You're welcome, I replied. Silence. I got married, she said finally. His name is David. He's a teacher. He doesn't care that I'm not pretty anymore. I stopped getting fillers and extensions. Stopped with the whole thing. He likes me anyway. That's good, I said. I'm happy for you. Are you? She asked. Or are you just being polite? I thought about it. Both, I admitted. I'm trying to be happy for you, but I'm also still hurt. Those things can exist together. Yeah, she said quietly. They can. More silence. I don't expect us to be close, she said. I don't expect you to forgive me or want me in your life. I just wanted to say thank you for the flowers and for not being cruel when you had every right to be. I'm not doing it for you, I said honestly. I'm doing it because I don't want to be the kind of person who kicks someone when they're trying to get up. I know, she replied, but thank you anyway. She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Not forgiveness, not reconciliation, but maybe the beginning of letting go. Oliver found me in the nursery, watching our daughter sleep. You okay? My sister called. I said. To thank me for the flowers. How do you feel? He asked. Tired? I admitted. But also, maybe a little lighter. Like I've been carrying this weight so long I forgot it was there. And maybe setting it down doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It just means I don't have to carry it anymore. When my daughter turned 2, my sister sent a birthday card. It had a $20 bill inside and a note that said, For her college fund. Every little bit helps. I added it to the account Oliver and I had started. It felt like a small thing, but it also felt like something. The cards kept coming. Every birthday. Every holiday. Never asking for anything. Just showing up. Consistently. From a distance. Oliver's mother asked about it one day. Your sister sends a lot of cards. She does, I said. Are you going to respond? She asked. I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants to. Part of me thinks responding opens a door I'm not ready to walk through. You don't have to decide today, she said. Or tomorrow. Or ever. You get to take all the time you need. When my daughter turned 3, she asked about the quilt. Where did this come from, Mama? Your aunt made it, I said before I could stop myself. I have an aunt? She asked, eyes wide. Yes, I said. You have an aunt. Where is she? My daughter asked. Far away, I replied. But she loves you very much. Can I meet her? My daughter asked. I looked at Oliver. He gave me the smallest nod. Maybe someday, I said. When you're older and I figure out what that looks like. My daughter accepted this answer the way children do, moving on to her next question without dwelling, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. That night, I pulled out all of my sister's letters. I'd kept every one, though I'd never responded. I read them in order, watching her evolution through her words. The desperate early ones, full of excuses and justifications. The middle ones, full of therapy speak and insight. The recent ones, simple and honest, and asking for nothing. Oliver found me surrounded by paper. What are you doing? Reading, I said. Trying to figure out if this is real or if I'm just seeing what I want to see. Does it matter? He asked. What do you mean? I said. Does it matter if her change is performative or genuine? Does it change what you want? I frowned. I don't understand. He sat down next to me. You're trying to figure out if your sister has changed enough to deserve access to your life. But maybe the question isn't whether she's changed. Maybe the question is whether you want her in your life, regardless of whether she's changed. But if she hasn't changed, I said, then I'm just setting myself up to be hurt again. And if she has changed, he replied, and you never give her a chance, you're setting yourself up to always wonder what if. There's risk either way. I leaned against him. When did you get so wise? I married you, he said. That required figuring out how to love someone who'd been taught she wasn't lovable. I learned a lot about second chances. I started crying. I hate that she gets to be redeemed in this story. She doesn't get redemption, he said gently. She gets a chance to try. What she does with it is up to her. And what you do with that chance is up to you. Neither of you controls the other. On my daughter's 4th birthday, I did something I never thought I'd do. I sent my sister a photo. Just one. My daughter wearing a birthday crown, grinning at the camera, wrapped in the quilt my sister had made. The text said, "She loves the quilt. Thank you." My sister responded immediately. "She's beautiful. She looks so much like you." I stared at that message. It was the first time my sister had ever called me beautiful, even indirectly. "Thank you," I wrote back. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, would it be okay if I sent her a birthday present? I thought about it for a long time before responding. "Yes," I wrote, "but nothing expensive, and please include a note so she knows who it's from." The present arrived a week later. A children's book about 2 sisters who go on adventures together. The inscription said, "To my niece, with love from your aunt. May you have the kind of sisterhood I never gave your mother." I read that inscription over and over. Then I took a photo and sent it to my sister. She called 5 minutes later. I answered. "Thank you for sending that," she said, her voice thick with tears. "You didn't have to." "I know," I said. "But she should know you exist. Even if we're not close, even if we never are, she should know she has an aunt who cares about her." "Can I ask why?" my sister said. "After everything, why let me into her life at all?" "Because you're trying," I said simply. "You've been trying for years, and I've been watching. And I think maybe you've earned the chance to be an aunt, even if you haven't earned the chance to be my sister again." "That's fair," she whispered. "That's more than fair." We talked for 20 minutes. Surface-level things. Her job at the bookstore, my work at the vet clinic, Oliver's new project, her husband's school. It felt strange and awkward and also somehow okay. When we hung up, Oliver was watching me from the doorway. "How do you feel?" "Scared," I admitted, but also hopeful. And I didn't think I'd ever feel hopeful about her again. Years passed. My sister and I exchanged photos of holidays and milestones. We talked on the phone every few months, conversations that slowly deepened from surface pleasantries to actual substance. She told me about her marriage, her struggles with self-worth, her journey through therapy. I told her about motherhood, about building a life with Oliver, about the ways I was still healing from our childhood. We didn't pretend the past hadn't happened, but we also didn't live in it. When my daughter turned 5, my sister asked if she could visit, just for a day. She'd rent a hotel room nearby, keep it short, no pressure. I talked to Oliver about it for weeks. Then I talked to my therapist about it. Then I talked to my daughter about it. "Your aunt wants to visit," I said. "How would you feel about that?" My daughter, who'd been hearing about her aunt in stories and birthday cards for years, lit up. "Really? I can finally meet her?" "Maybe," I said. "But Mama needs you to understand something. My aunt and I didn't always get along. We're trying to get along now, but it's hard. If she visits and something feels wrong, I need you to tell me, okay?" My daughter nodded seriously, the way children do when they sense adult weight in a conversation. The visit was scheduled for a Saturday in June. My sister drove 6 hours to reach us. Oliver suggested I meet her somewhere public first, without our daughter, to gauge the situation. We met at a coffee shop downtown. I saw her through the window before I went in. She looked different. Her hair was natural, no extensions, minimal makeup, jeans, and a simple sweater. She looked like a person instead of a performance. When she saw me, she stood up so fast she knocked over her chair. Then she laughed nervously and picked it up. "Hi," she said. "Hi," I replied. We sat down. The silence was excruciating. Finally, she spoke. I practiced what I was going to say for weeks. I had this whole speech prepared. But now that you're here, it all sounds stupid. "Try me," I said. She took a deep breath. "I'm sorry. I know I've said it before, but I'm sorry for all of it, for making you feel less than, for stealing years from you, for being so afraid of being ordinary that I made you feel invisible. I'm sorry." I nodded. "Thank you. I don't expect forgiveness," she continued. "I don't expect us to be close. I just want you to know that I see it now. What I did. What it cost. And I'm spending every day trying to be someone different. I can see that," I said. "The trying. I've been watching for years." Her eyes filled with tears. "You have?" "Of course," I said. "Did you think I'd just let you near my daughter without paying attention?" She laughed, wiping her eyes. "That's fair. That's smart." We talked for 2 hours. Real conversation, not the surface-level exchanges we'd had on the phone. She told me about her marriage to David, how he'd seen through her defenses and loved her anyway, how she'd had a breakdown when he'd called her beautiful, and she'd realized she didn't know how to be anything else. "He asked me who I was without pretty," she said, and I had no answer. I'd spent 26 years building my entire identity around being better than you, prettier than everyone. When that fell apart, there was nothing underneath. I told her about therapy, about unpacking decades of believing I was unlovable, about Oliver and how he'd shown me what it meant to be chosen without conditions, about becoming a mother and realizing I was raising a daughter in a world that would try to tell her she wasn't enough. "I won't let her grow up the way we did," I said. "I won't let her tie her worth to her appearance or her achievements. I won't compare her to anyone." "Good," my sister said. "That's good. She's lucky to have you." After coffee, I made a decision. "You can meet her, but Oliver will be there. And if anything feels off, you leave immediately. Understood?" "Understood," she said. My sister met my daughter in our backyard, with Oliver watching from the porch and me standing close enough to intervene. My daughter ran up to her, completely uninhibited the way children are, and said, "You're my aunt. You made my blanket." My sister knelt down, tears already streaming. "I did. I'm so glad you like it." "I love it," my daughter said. "It keeps me warm. Mama says you love me even though you live far away." "I do," my sister said, her voice breaking. "I love you so much." They sat in the grass together, my daughter showing her the garden and chattering about her favorite bugs. My sister listened with complete attention, asking questions, laughing at my daughter's stories. She didn't try to hug me, didn't overstep. She just existed in our space with gratitude and care. After an hour, she stood up. "Thank you for this. I should go before I overstay my welcome." My daughter grabbed her hand. "Will you come back?" My sister looked at me. "If your mama says it's okay, I'd love to." I nodded. "We'll see." After she left, Oliver put his arm around me. "How do you feel?" "Like maybe this is what closure looks like," I said. "Not forgetting. Not pretending it didn't happen. Just learning to exist in the same world without destroying each other." My daughter tugged on my shirt. "Mama, I like Aunt. She's nice." I picked her up. "I'm glad, baby. But remember what I said? If anything ever feels wrong, you tell me." She nodded seriously, then wriggled down to chase a butterfly. Oliver kissed my temple. "You did good." "We'll see," I said. This was the easy part. The test is whether she keeps showing up when it stops being new. She did keep showing up. Every few months, she'd drive up for a visit. Always respectful. Always appropriate. She sent cards and small gifts. She remembered birthdays. She asked about my life and listened to the answers. She never asked for more than I offered. 2 years after that first visit, I got a call from the hospital. Dad had a heart attack. He was stable, but asking for both of us. My sister called me immediately after. "Did Mom call you?" "Yes," I said. "Are you going?" she asked. "I don't know," I admitted. "Are you?" "I think so," she said. "He's still our dad, even if he was a terrible one." I thought about it. "Okay, I'll go, but I'm not going alone." Oliver drove me to the hospital the next day. My sister was already there, sitting in the waiting room. She looked as nervous as I felt. Mom was in Dad's room. When we walked in together, she looked shocked. "You both came. We're not here for you," my sister said quietly. "We're here because he's our father." Dad looked small in the hospital bed, connected to machines that beeped rhythmically. He looked at us with watery eyes. "I'm glad you're both here. I need to say something before it's too late." Mom started to interrupt, but Dad held up his hand. "No, let me talk. I failed you both. I let your mother turn you against each other. I prioritized keeping the peace over protecting my daughters. I'm sorry." My sister started crying. Mom looked furious. "This is ridiculous," Mom said. "You girls are being dramatic. We did the best we could." "Your best," I said evenly, was telling me I was strong enough to handle being invisible while my sister destroyed my self-worth. "Your best was asking me to postpone my wedding so my sister wouldn't feel bad." "That's not fair," Mom snapped. "Neither was my childhood," I replied. My sister stepped forward. Mom, I need you to hear this. You made me believe my only value was being pretty. You taught me to compete with my own sister. You turned me into someone I'm ashamed of. And when that fell apart, you abandoned me too. I did no such thing, Mom said, her voice shaking. I loved you girls equally. No, my sister said. You loved the versions of us that made you look good. The moment we stopped performing, you threw us away. Dad was crying now. She's right. We failed you both, and I'm sorry. Mom stormed out of the room. Neither of us followed. Dad looked at us. I know it's too late. I know I can't fix what I broke, but I need you to know I see it now. And I'm sorry. My sister and I looked at each other. Some silent understanding passed between us. Thank you, I said finally. But seeing it now doesn't change what happened. It doesn't give us back the years we lost. I know, Dad whispered. I know. We left together, my sister and I, walking out of the hospital side by side. In the parking lot, she stopped and looked at me. Did we just become sisters? She asked, a weak smile on her face. I think we've been becoming sisters for a while now, I replied. Today we just made it official. She hugged me then. The first time we'd hugged in almost a decade. It felt strange and familiar and also like something new. Oliver was waiting by the car. He looked at us, then smiled. Ready to go home? He asked. Yeah, I said. I'm ready. Dad recovered from the heart attack. Mom filed for divorce 6 months later, unable to handle the fact that Dad had sided with his daughters. She moved across the country and sent a generic holiday card the first year. After that, nothing. My sister and I talked about it over coffee one afternoon, watching my daughter play at the park with her husband David. Do you think she'll ever apologize? My sister asked. No, I said, because that would require admitting she was wrong, and Mom's never been wrong a day in her life. My sister laughed bitterly. True. Does it bother you? I asked. That she's just gone? Sometimes, she admitted. I grieve for the mother I wish I'd had, but I don't miss the mother I actually had. Does that make sense? Perfect sense, I said. We sat in comfortable silence, watching our family. David was teaching my daughter how to do a cartwheel. Oliver was recording on his phone, laughing as my daughter tumbled into the grass. This is what I wanted, my sister said quietly. This. Family that actually likes each other. People who choose to show up. We have that now, I said. It doesn't look like what we thought it would, but we have it. She reached over and squeezed my hand. Thank you for giving me this chance. Thank you for taking it seriously, I replied. When my daughter turned 7, she asked if Aunt could come to her birthday party. Not just visit for an hour, but actually be there for the whole thing. I looked at Oliver. What do you think? I think she's earned it, he said. And I think our daughter wants her there. That matters. My sister came to the party with David. She brought a modest gift and a homemade cake. She helped set up decorations. She played games with the kids. She didn't try to be the center of attention. She just participated, grateful to be included. At the end of the party, as she was leaving, my daughter hugged her tight. I love you, Aunt. My sister's face crumbled. She knelt down and hugged my daughter back. I love you too, sweetheart. Thank you for letting me be part of your life. After they left, Oliver found me in the kitchen cleaning up. You're crying. Happy tears, I said. I never thought we'd get here. Where's here? He asked. A place where my daughter has an aunt who loves her, I said. A place where my sister is genuinely trying to be better. A place where I don't have to choose between protecting myself and having family. We're here. We actually made it here. He pulled me close. I'm proud of you. This took courage. It took both of us, I said. She had to change, and I had to let her. 3 years after that first coffee shop meeting, my sister had a daughter of her own. She called me from the hospital, sobbing. I'm terrified, she admitted. What if I'm like Mom? What if I destroy her the way I destroyed you? You won't, I said firmly, because you see it. Mom never saw it. She still doesn't, but you do. And that makes all the difference. But what if it's in me? She asked. What if I can't help it? Then you'll catch yourself and correct course, I said. That's what therapy is for. That's what self-awareness is for. You're not Mom. You're the person who chose to become someone different. She named her daughter after our grandmother, the one who'd died before all the damage had been done, the one who'd supposedly been kind. When I visited them in the hospital, my sister looked exhausted and terrified, and also radiant. She's perfect, I said, looking at my niece. She is, my sister whispered, and I'm going to spend every day making sure she knows it. Not because she's pretty or accomplished or special, just because she exists. That's all any of us needed, I said quietly. My sister looked at me, tears streaming. I'm sorry I couldn't give that to you. I know, I said, but you're giving it to her, and that matters. My daughter and her cousin grew up together, seeing each other every few months. They had the kind of easy, uncomplicated relationship my sister and I never had. They played without competition. They celebrated each other's wins. They were just kids, unburdened by the weight of generational trauma. One day when my daughter was 10, she asked me why Aunt and I hadn't been close when we were young. We had a complicated relationship, I said carefully. We hurt each other for a long time. But you're close now, she said. We're trying to be, I replied. And sometimes trying is enough. She thought about that. I'm glad you're trying. I love Aunt. Me too, I said. I'm glad too. On my daughter's 13th birthday, my sister pulled me aside. There's something I need to tell you. I've been writing about everything. About what I did. About the recovery. My therapist suggested I might want to publish it. to help other people who are trying to change. How do you feel about that? I asked. Scared, she admitted, but also ready. I've been hiding from my past for years. Maybe it's time to own it. The book came out 2 years later. It was called The Pretty Broken, after her old podcast. But this time it was the truth. She wrote about our childhood, about the damage she'd caused, about the years of therapy and the slow, painful process of becoming someone new. She wrote about me, with my permission, and about how I'd given her a chance she didn't deserve but was grateful for anyway. The reviews were mixed. Some people praised her honesty, others said she was profiting off her victim's pain. I read it once, cover to cover, and cried through most of it. When I finished, I called her. I read it. And? She asked nervously. It's honest, I said. That's all it needed to be. Are you angry? She asked. That I wrote about you? No, I said. Because you told the truth. You didn't minimize. You didn't justify. You just told the truth. She started crying. That's all I wanted to do. Tell the truth and maybe help someone else not make my mistakes. I think you did, I said. I think you really did. The book sold moderately well. My sister donated all the profits to organizations that help young women with self-esteem issues. She started speaking at schools about the dangers of tying your worth to your appearance. She became, improbably, an advocate for the very things she'd once destroyed. One day, a journalist asked her if she'd reconciled with her sister. She looked directly at the camera. I wouldn't call it reconciliation, she said. Reconciliation implies going back to how things were. We're not going back. We're building something new, something neither of us had before. And my sister gave me that chance when I deserved nothing. That's not reconciliation. That's grace. I watched that interview from my living room, Oliver's arm around me. My daughter was at the kitchen table doing homework. Everything felt peaceful. She's come a long way, Oliver said. We both have, I replied. Do you trust her now? He asked. I thought about it. I trust that she's trying. I trust her intentions. Do I trust that she'll never hurt me again? No. But I also know that if she does, I'll survive it. I survived 24 years of it. I can survive anything now. He kissed my forehead. You're stronger than you think. I learned from the best, I said, leaning into him. When my daughter turned 16, she asked if she could spend a week at Aunt's house over summer break. My first instinct was to say no, to protect her, to keep her close. But then I looked at my sister, who'd shown up consistently for 8 years, who'd never missed a birthday, who'd never overstepped, who'd become exactly the kind of aunt she'd promised to be. Okay, I said, but you call me every day. And if anything feels wrong, you tell me immediately. My daughter rolled her eyes the way teenagers do. Mom, I'll be fine. Aunt's not going to, kidnap me. My sister laughed. Your mom's just protecting you. That's what good moms do. My daughter went. She called every night full of stories about her and her cousin's adventures. She came home happy and suntanned and full of inside jokes with her aunt. She hugged me tight when she got home. Thanks for letting me go, she said. I had the best time. After she ran upstairs to unpack, my sister lingered. Thank you for trusting me with her. You earned it, I said simply. She smiled and I realized something. This was what healing looked like. Not dramatic declarations or tearful reunions, just quiet trust, built slowly over years. Just showing up, again and again, until showing up became natural. Last year, Dad died. The heart attack had weakened him and he'd never fully recovered. My sister and I planned the funeral together, navigating the logistics with the ease of people who'd learned to work as a team. Mom came to the funeral. She'd aged badly, her face pulled tight from too much cosmetic work. She tried to approach us in the cemetery. Girls, she said. I've missed you. My sister and I looked at each other, then back at Mom. We're not girls anymore, I said. We're women, and we're doing fine without you. Mom's face hardened. I tried to do right by you both. No, my sister said. You tried to make us into who you wanted us to be. You tried to do right by yourself. Mom opened her mouth to argue, then seemed to realize she had no ground to stand on. She left without another word. Do you think she'll ever get it? My sister asked, watching her go. No, I said. But that's okay. We don't need her to get it anymore. We have each other. My sister linked her arm through mine. Yeah, we do. We stood there side by side. Two sisters who'd found their way back to each other through years of work and grace and trying. We weren't the sisters we were supposed to be, but we were the sisters we'd chosen to become, and that was enough. Now, when people ask me if my high school drama with my sister worked out, I tell them the truth. We weren't high school sweethearts who found our way back to each other. We were childhood enemies who decided to build something new. It's messier than a fairy tale. It's more complicated than a redemption arc, but it's real, and it's ours. And after everything, that's more than I ever expected. My daughter graduates high school next year. She wants to be a veterinarian, like me. She's kind and confident and completely secure in who she is. She's never apologized for taking up space. She's never made herself small. Sometimes I watch her and my niece together, laughing and planning and just existing without the weight of comparison, and I feel something that took me years to name: peace. My sister and I gave our daughters what we never had. We broke the cycle. We stopped the generational curse of mothers pitting daughters against each other. We chose differently. And every time my daughter hugs her aunt goodbye, every time my niece calls me aunt with complete love and trust, every time we all sit together at holidays without tension or competition, I know it was worth it. All the pain, all the years, all the work. We made it to the other side. Oliver still calls it miraculous. My daughter thinks it's normal. My sister calls it grace. I call it what it is. Two broken people who decided to heal instead of destroy. And that's the best kind of ending there is. Not perfect, not pretty, just honest and hard-won and real. My sister said no one would ever date me. And for years I believed her. But now I know the truth. She was never talking about me. She was talking about herself. She was projecting her deepest fear onto me because if I was unlovable, she could still be the special one, the chosen one. But we're both lovable. We're both worthy. We both deserved better than what we got. And somehow, despite everything, we gave each other better. Not the better we deserved back then, but the better we could offer now. And that's something. That's everything.